Hi, in this video you're gonna learn how to make your walls in the bathroom perfectly plumb and flat, which is extremely important when it comes to bathroom remodeling and tiling. So stay tuned, give this video a like and consider subscribing, and let's go. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with new construction or old home, anyways, when it comes to framing and when you expose the studs, usually you see something like that. So studs that are not flush with one another and the wall that would be off the level. So this is a new construction, but anyways, when house was built and there is a movement in the wood and it dries and all that stuff, and especially when somebody did something not the way it should be, you're gonna see some differences between the frame. So uh, in this shower we're gonna have three walls. Like usually in most of the showers you have the back wall, you have the side wall, and you have another side. So I already framed the curb over here because I'm gonna be using gold board, another Schluter curb in this case. I framed this niche and I already know where my tile is gonna be and everything, so I put some extra lumber for the grab bars because this is where customer desired it to be. And also I built that bench, and also it will be wrapped with a gold board, which is waterproofing. So first thing that you need to do, you need to deal with your back wall. So usually it's a good rule when you do the back wall first, you put the tile and then you butt it next to this wall and this wall, and then when you install the tile on the left side, you cover your cuts with the tile, and also it makes the corner and the cuts less visible. If you made any mistakes or cut it a little bit too big, it's much better when you have it facing like that than when you install this wall first and then you have the back wall next to it. So with that being said, it's really important to have this wall level first. So you have few ways how you can make it level. So you see in my case we have the window and we have tons of different lumber, and then also some plates for the some blocks for the grab bar here. So the method which is called pretty much sistering, it won't work. So but if you have just wall that has vertical studs, what you can do, you can either use your like metal, plastic, whatever level, like plank type, and you can just put it to your wall, check which side is off, the bottom or the top, and then just use another stud and bring it exactly to the level and nail it or screw it to the existing stud. And this method is called sistering. So you can pretty much do one wall and sister them and make them perfectly plumb. In this case, you see that we have tons of stuff and we have insulation, so it's not gonna work. So what I'm gonna be using here, this method is called wet shimming. So what I do, I'm lucky to have a laser level that projects the 360 degrees line, which is self-calibrated, and it perfectly lines up with the whole wall, except some spots where the insulation is sticking out, but it can be just pressed if I don't see the line. So what you need to do, you need to, by positioning your level, you need just to adjust it and make sure that the line is hitting the high spots on this wall. So in my case, I was bringing it as deep as possible until it hit the sticking studs, the studs that are sticking out. So I have one screw, one nail over there at the bottom, which is my zero that pretty much I'll be using it to attach the boards to. Then I have another stud on this side. You can see that line kind of passes through, but we can see that it's catching this stud because it's sticking out further compared to the rest of the framing. And we can also see different spots like that, but then like you see, some of the areas is just too much. So what I'm doing next, I know what material I'm gonna be using here. In this case, it will be Go Board waterproofing. It's got a waterproofing panels that are a ½ inch thick. So I know the size of this panel, which is 3 by 5 feet. They also make 4 by 8 sheets, I know, but usually at the store like Lowe's, you can get 3 by 5. So what you need to do, you need to determine the layout of your panel. So I'll be using like a 3 by 5 sheet, starting from the sill down here, and pretty much from this corner to the left. And I will stop it, I'll have to cut it to be able to butt it on the stud over here. So then, after I know where my piece is gonna go and what size it's gonna be, I'm running the screws, which are pretty much, in this case, this is cement board screws. You can use any other screw pretty much. Cement board just has bigger kind of head. It's flat and it's kind of big enough. So I'm gonna be using them as a reference for me to know the depth. So every time when I use my drill, I drive the screw until I see the line that kind of sits on this screw head. So it means it's pretty much the imitation of my wall, and I know where to stop. So, and I drive all those screws, all of them, just like that. You see, I have my drill bit. If the screw a little bit angled, then I just make sure that this side that's sticking out, it's past the line. So I do it for all the studs, and pretty much I have one sheet and it will stop right over here. So I run one screw here, one screw somewhere at the center of the board, and one on the top. And I drive all of them to the level. So pretty much it creates the reference points for me. And the next thing that I'm gonna be doing is after I cut my panels to size, I will mix the thinset, or it can be like hot mud, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, a joint compound, but I would suggest using thinset. You mix it, you apply it on a stud, and screw gives you an idea how much you need to apply. So you apply it enough to be then pressed with the board and fill the gap between the screw and the stud. So you apply it everywhere. You can just use Budic knife, any kind of Budic knives that you have, and you apply it, and then you press your board, and you need to mark where you have your screws. So pretty much I'm trying to drive them on the same line here, and I know that it's on each side, in each stud. So I'll be marking here, and here. So then I know that screws are located on this vertical, and also I'll have marks on the sides, and it will give me an understanding that I have the line over here. So when I press the board, I don't drive my screw that will be holding the board through this, and I won't create a hole that is unnecessary, absolutely. So you just have to mix it, put it on a stud, press it to the wall until it touches the screw. So pretty much you'll feel that it kind of stopped, and then you can either run the screw somewhere like above it and push your board enough to be touching the screw head, but don't secure it yet, because it needs to harden. This material, whatever you choose, like thinset or joint compound, needs to harden first. So you do that, and then when it hardens, usually I leave some leftover somewhere from the bucket, so then I know that it's hardened and I can secure it safely. And also, since it's Go board, I'll be using, like, be careful not to put thinset or any other compound that you're gonna be using on the edges, because they needs to be waterproof, and usually you have to apply the caulking on the edge and then put your board so it will be filling the gap in between. So this method is called wet shimming, and when this wall is ready and you have it perfectly flat and vertical, if you have any difference on this wall, that won't be a problem, because even if they are slightly off level, you won't see it, because when it butts to the wall which is perfectly level and this one perfectly plumb and flat, you won't have any like shim looking joints in the corner. So this method is called wet shimming, and um, I'm hoping that this video was useful, and give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I can answer them and give you more information if you need to. Thank you and stay tuned. Hi, in this video you're gonna learn how to make your walls perfectly level and not level, plumb.